Okay. So namaste and good evening. I am Prema Kakade, Secretary of YPS. So welcome to the YPS Saturday Meets and thank you for tuning in. Hope you all have connected on the computer or laptop for a better experience. If not, please go ahead and you can connect now on a bigger screen. So today's presentation and talk is about stepping into salons by Anitha Mysore. Before I tell you more about today's webinar, I would like to just announce the upcoming programs. So on 21st February, we have, on the 14th of February, we have open house in the YPS hall. So this is going to be in the hall, and it is, review of pictures shot at Chitra Sati, which was held in Bengaluru on the 4th of January. So you can bring your pictures, 5 pictures each. I think you have to submit it. Yeah. And then we will discuss the pictures and how it can be improved. So it's going to be an open forum. Please do come to the hall. And after that, on the 21st February, we are going to have another Google Meet by Mr. Ashwini Kumar Bhatt. It is going to be on different perspectives in photography, titled Seeing Beyond the Obvious. So this also is going to be an interesting webinar. We'll be very soon publishing it on the WhatsApp channel as well. So please mark your dates. And now to continue with today's program by Anitha Mysore. Now, I guess anybody who is into photography and who is a member of our club has heard about salons, and you all know about salons. But a lot of you, especially those who have joined, the club and who has started photography in the recent times, would like to, compete in various competitions which are called salons, and you would like to see where your standing is. And definitely salons are a stepping stone to improve your skills. And then as you improve your skills and start getting acceptances and awards, the byproduct is distinctions. Now, distinctions are varied kind, and that will be a totally different webinar where, you'll be told about the different federations, different bodies which give you recognition, distinctions, and how you can go about that. So we can have that a little later. But right now, it is all about what kind of pictures you have to submit. And, for each, there are so many different themes and different genres, different, kinds of pictures that you can submit, and what the judges look for in your pictures, and how you can take it to an acceptance level, and from there on to the level where it can get an award. So Anitha will be talking about all this in detail, and she'll be also answering all the questions and queries you have. And Anitha, as you know, if I should tell just briefly about her, because I'm sure everybody has heard about her. She's nothing new to salons, and of course, she is very well known, not only here in our country, but also outside the country. As she's been, she has been participating in salons right from the beginning when she joined a club, and I think she's got more than 900 awards and 9,000 acceptances. I'm sure it must have gone up by now, because every day she's adding to it. And she's not only participating in salons, but she is also on the jury. She's a jury member of many national and international salons. And not only that, now she'll also be a big part of organizing our YPS salons. Now, since she's come into our into the EC Executive Committee. She is not only a director, but she's also in charge of all our participation in interclub competitions. And she's been a chairperson for many YPS national and international salons. So there can not be another better person to talk about what kind of pictures you need to submit than Anitha herself. So before I hand over the screen to her, here's a little request to you all. So you are all muted right now. So if you have any question, please type it out in the chat box, which will be taken up at the end of the session. And not only can you type it at the end of the session, you will be unmuted and you can always ask your questions. So you will have both the options. And here I hand over the screen to Anitha.
Thank you, Prema. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
And will you start the recording or has it been started?
Recording is already started. Yes,
okay.
It has started.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, thanks, Prema, for a very flattering introduction. As usual, this is putting a lot of pressure on me. But anyway, so a very warm welcome to all of you to this session on stepping into salons. Maybe at the outset, let me just set some objectives for this session. So what you can expect. So if you're very new to salons, I know that among the audience here, we have all kinds of people at all levels of participation, salon participants, so to say. So some of you are new, some of you are experienced, and some of you are at another level altogether. So anyway, if you're very new to salons, then probably this will help you understand how salons work and how you can start confidently. And if you already have a few acceptances because you've started participating in salons already, it will help you improve your consistency and choose the right images for the right sections. And if you've already been winning awards, hopefully this will help you refine your approach and avoid some common strategic mistakes that I also ended up doing in the past. And if you don't shoot for salons at all, I'm sure there are some people here in this audience who are not, they don't shoot for salons at all. So maybe it can help you understand how images are judged. And this is something that can improve photography everywhere. But at the outset, I would like to make a disclaimer that attending this session is, or I'm not going to promise to convert you into an award-winning photographer or medal-winning photographer overnight. So this is not something that we'll do, but at least it will help you maybe move forward one step from where you are at present. So let's start with a very simple truth about photo salons. So salons don't judge photographers. They judge individual images one at a time. This is very important. So the salons are not judging photographers. They are only judging individual images. So I thought it would be interesting to give a brief history of photography salons. But before we go into this, what I want to share a very brief experience that I had. So I joined YPS in 2016. And this was when YPS, after a dormant phase, was brought back to life by with Satish, at the helm as the president and a very dedicated team. And we had a first inaugural meeting in 2016. And I was, in fact, encouraged by none other than A.K. Raju to go and attend this meeting and see if I can get something from this club. So I went and signed up to become a member of the Youth Photographic Society. On the same day, we were distributed application forms, and then I signed up immediately. And one of the things that we were promised was that there would be regular webinars, or not webinars really, because at that time things were not online. So it was an offline session. So the first talk I heard about was I mean, in the sense I got information about was about salon participation, which was going to be handled jointly by Satish and Raju. And I just looked at it and I said, what is salon? I don't even know what it is. So what's the point in even attending this? I just, pushed it aside. And then again, as Prema mentioned, in 2 weeks from now, we will have this open session where images are going to be reviewed. We used to have such sessions in the past also. So members were encouraged to bring their pictures to the hall, and there would be a review. And in fact, I had come back from a trip to Italy very recently at that time, and then I had some images, and then I took those images to show it to the seniors over there. And then I remember that Murli sir and Satish and all of them said, "Oh, you have such good images. Why don't you participate in salons?" That's how my salon photography journey began. I can say a journey in photography salons began. From where I didn't even know what a salon meant. I'm sure there are some of you who may be in the same situation, so you don't know what exactly is a salon or what it entails. I hope this session can throw some light on it. So just, I'll give you a very brief history.
Anitha, if I can just interrupt you for a second, I just forgot to mention this. We have our international salon open now, and people can submit for that. So I think this session is going to be of great help if you want to, start your salon submissions, or even if you have already started. The YPS 2026 International Salon is open for submission, so please pay attention. Thanks, Anitha. Please go ahead.
Welcome. Yeah, so I will bring that point also in, because that is the latest. I mean, that's the thing that's going to be on the agenda very soon. But anyway, for a brief history of the photography salons. So as you know, photography began in 1839. And it was initially seen only as a technical process, not as an art. And then photographers, they sought artistic recognition. And then this was actually, at that time, the paintings by artists, they used to be exhibited in fine art exhibitions. And inspired by this, the photography clubs, which were there at that time, they started organizing exhibitions. And these came to be called as photography salons. Eventually, in the next 3 decades, it was more of a pictorialistic era, which means that at that time the salons promoted pictorial photography, which means that because it was still developing as an art, people or the photo artists wanted to take pictures which resembled paintings, so soft focus, and then they used to manually manipulate it and things like that. And acceptance into salons was equivalent, it was treated as being equivalent to artistic excellence. And salons were mainly physical, print-based exhibitions, obviously. So at that time, it was too early for digital. And after that, from pictorialism, it went on to what they called as straight photography, because the emphasis changed to sharp focus, minimal manipulation, and things like that. And at that time, new genres like documentary, street, and landscape photography came up. And photography came to be accepted as an art form at that time. And the salons, they became more open to diverse photographic styles. And beyond that, in 1934, the Photographic Society of America was born, and it promoted photography globally, and it also formalized the exhibitions and recognition. And FIAP, which is it's a French expansion, Fédération Internationale de l'Art Photographique. This was formed in 1950, and this also standardized international salon patronage, acceptances, and titles. And in the next 2 decades, color photography came to be accepted. And then there were sections like nature, travel, and creative. And at that time, there was a separation between monochrome and color categories. That's when that happened. And in the 21st century, where we are in now, digital submissions have replaced print entries. It doesn't mean that there are no print entries. There are print entries, but by and large, everything is digital. And there is a rapid growth of salons. So it's both global, and it is also accessible to people mainly because everything has gone digital. And to a certain extent, we can say there is focus on originality, ethics, and storytelling. And in addition, it would be worthwhile to mention that two other photographic unions, like the Global Photographic Union, GPU, it was born in 2007, and Image Colleague Society, this is an American one. So this apparently dates back to 2015. They don't have any records before that. So in summary, if we have to look at the origin of the word salon, so it comes from the French term salon, which means a large reception room. It was popularized by the Salon de Paris in 1667. It's an official art exhibition. And it was adopted by photographers to align photography with fine art traditions. So, in short, salon is nothing but a formal exhibition of art, which is judged and curated for quality and recognition, because everything cannot go on the wall. So there has to be some selection that has to happen. So that's how this came about. So at least now I think we are on the same page about what exactly salon means. So why should you participate in salons? Is it even necessary? I would think so. One of the reasons for participating in salons is definitely learning. Then there is recognition, and then there is growth. So what exactly are we looking at? Learning. So in salon photography, or when you participate in salons, your work is judged by experienced national and international jurors. And this helps to benchmark your work against the global standard. So it lets you know, it allows you to know where you stand when you're competing at different levels, instead of just doing photography for yourself. And it also forces careful shooting, editing, and selection. You have to abide by the rules of the apex bodies which give recognition to the salons. Therefore, you will be forced to adhere to these rules. So you will be forced to edit very carefully, and also make your selection very carefully, let alone shooting. And definitely, you will see faster improvement in your photography. This is what has happened to me. So I didn't think that I really attribute my growth in the field of photography to my connection with Youth Photographic Society, which primarily diverted me into this I can say the world of salons. So salons tell you where your photography truly stands. Now, what about recognition? So, in this case, when you get acceptances or awards in photography salons after participating it, they are more or less an official validation about where you stand. And as I already said, apex bodies such as the FIAP, PSA, Federation of Indian Photography, which is a national body, they follow defined standards. And if you earn distinctions, which is again, as Prema already mentioned, distinctions are a byproduct of your participation in salons. So when you earn those distinctions, they add credibility when you participate in exhibitions, or when you give talks or workshops, or whether you're teaching, mentoring, in any of those things. So it really adds credibility. So salon recognition is widely respected worldwide. Now, what about growth? So one of the biggest advantages of participating in salons is that you keep getting regular feedback in through whether your pictures get accepted or not. So this builds some kind of consistency. You know what works, what doesn't work, and then if some picture is rejected, then you know why. I mean, it will help you introspect and see what is it that went wrong. So how is it that you should improve, and your portfolio quality improves over time. Definitely. And of course, you develop patience, discipline, and confidence, because when you start participating in salons, you have to be up to date, you have to be on time. So it is a discipline. There are some people who participate in 2 or 3 salons a day, and believe me, it's a lot of work. You need to have, or it will make you develop the required patience and discipline. So the growth is gradual, it's not instant. So there are some limitations and challenges. It's not that everything is rosy. So for one thing, judging is subjective. So judging happens for every salon by a jury panel consisting of a limited number of members. So the judging is subjective. The entry fees, it's not that every salon is free. You have to pay an entry fee in order to be able to contest or take part in a salon. And rejections may discourage beginners. So of course it can be discouraging. And there is always the risk of chasing salon style images. So this is what you hear people saying, oh, that person shoots only for salons, doesn't shoot anything else. So this is actually one of the challenges. So you should come out of that. And of course, the process of submission, though submission may not be so tedious, but the tracking process that is there, that is definitely very tedious, because it's not a one-time thing. It's something that keeps happening over and over again. So is there a way to overcome them? Yes, these challenges. So you can choose the salon selectively. You don't have to participate in each and every salon that comes across your way. You can set an annual budget, especially if you're beginning. You can just decide that, okay, I'm not going to go beyond this. But once you get into that vortex, it becomes very difficult. So you have to be very careful. Then you focus on the learning, not the medals or the rejection. So definitely you will learn a lot. Your photography will improve a lot. So this is something you have to focus on. And you have to balance the salon whatever images with your personal projects. So don't shoot just for salons. Continue to do what you're doing for yourself also. So definitely salons improve photographers when they are used widely. So there is one, these days, social media, everybody is very active on social media, and everybody wants to put their pictures immediately on social media and get instant gratification. Is there a difference between what you put on social media and what you, I mean, like what is it that when you look at the difference between social media and photography salons? So social media is, I can say, geared, or, it is more oriented towards likes and algorithms, whereas photography salons is more about expert judging. And in social media, it is more trend driven. Whereas in photography salons, it is more focused on the image quality. And in social media, it's more of short-term visibility. Whereas in photography salons, it is about long-term learning. In social media, there's no formal validation. It's just the likes. Whereas in the photography salons, you can end up getting recognized credentials. So just as an example, now this is one of the pictures. I titled this, Can You Do Me a Favor? And I used to, those days when, in the very beginning, maybe 10 years ago or more, so there was only Flickr, there was no Facebook and Instagram and all that. So I was a part of Flickr. I was not a part of any group. And usually my pictures would get some tens or maybe at most more than 100 views, not likes, views. And when I posted this picture, all of a sudden, within a very short while, it got over 11,000 views. And I was like, oh my God, this is such a good image. Or is it? I didn't know. I thought it was a very good image. Then I posted another one. This I titled Spacewalk. Both these were shot in Ranganthittu. This also got more than 8,000 views. And when I started to participate in salons and I submitted these images to salons, they were not at all accepted. So you can imagine what is the kind of response we get from social media and what is the kind of response we get from photography salons. So visibility is not the same as credibility, or it's not equal to credibility. Now let us look at photography salons versus competitions. Now in salons itself, there are, you can say, two major types. One is single judging and the other one, they're called as circuits, that is multiple judging. So when you say single judging or salons, there can be national salons, which means that the salon is recognized by national apex bodies, like in India, it's Federation of Indian Photography. If it's an international salon, it is something which is recognized by international apex bodies like the FIAP, PSA, GPU, Master of Light, etc. And there are also salons which have no recognition. That means they don't really take a recognition from any of these apex bodies, but These are generally done to promote clubs, and they may give away cash awards and medals because they want to encourage participation. And when we come to circuits, circuits can be either national or international. So, which means they have recognition from the national or the international apex body. And the advantage of circuit is that you pay only one fee, but there are multiple judgings, which means it is like participating in 3, 4, 5, 6 salons at a time with the same set of images and one fee. Of course, the fee may be higher, but you will have multiple judgings. And this also means that you can get more acceptances, you can get more awards. And the jury, of course, cannot be the same for each of the judgings. So the jury has to be different for each of the judging. So your pictures are simultaneously being judged by more than one panel of jury members. So that is the primary difference between salon and circuit. And when it comes to salons versus competitions, so salons, there will be all year round. It's continuous. It's not something that happens only once in a way. So it is there all year round. Whereas competitions are usually one time, or they may be theme based events also. And in salons, you have very structured judging because they have to follow the rules set aside by the apex body. So across salons, you may have very similar rules. Whereas in competition, the rules vary by contest. And the salons are learning oriented. And I can say the competitions are result oriented because it's a one time thing. Then in salons, acceptances and awards matter. That means you accumulate them over a period of time. Whereas in competitions, the photo artists are encouraged with cash prizes. It's not a bad thing, definitely, but it's not something that is cumulative. Then with salons, you can build distinctions. Whereas with competitions, there is no concept of distinctions, but there is definitely more competition, and the standard is also very high. And you would have heard of contests or competitions like Nature in Focus, DJMPC, HIPAA, Sony World, and all of these. So these are all competitions. So they are very, very prestigious, very high standard. A lot of people compete. Therefore, the standard is also very high. But then they are okay every yearly ones, or this kind of thing. So you can say, in short, salons are like a marathon, but competitions are like a sprint. So one of the things that is important to understand is salons are a system. It's not an event. And by now, if all of you are wondering why I'm just showing you a set of slides with no pictures, I will come to that soon. Please hold on. So how does a salon actually work? This is important to understand. So as I said, it is not a contest that you enter only once. So it is a kind of system which has rules, which has sections, which has juries, and which has outcomes. So basically what happens is that when a salon is set up, or it is organized, so there will be a set of sections which are defined as a part of that salon, which means that you can participate in those sections with your photos. So you can do that. And there are some rules. So the pictures that you submit, they have to adhere to these rules. And then you submit your pictures, and then it is evaluated by a jury panel. And then they give you the result. Now, what exactly happens here is that every photo, or every picture rather, is it starts from zero, meaning it's nothing like, okay, you already have some points for that picture and you continue. It's not like that. Every picture that a jury member looks at, it starts from zero. The score is zero. Then he starts to give a score to that. So it is treated in its individual capacity. So what it means is that one image, one section, one decision. So every image is judged on its own, and it can be a great image, but if you put it in a wrong section, it becomes a weak image. So it's all context based. And the salon success is also about alignment. It's not just brilliance. So now, since I mentioned sections, maybe I will just get into a little more detail about sections. So people who are already into salons may find this boring, but people who are new to salons, stepping into salons now, may find this actually interesting. So sections are not something written in stone or whatever. So it only describes how an image should be read. And it's not what it contains, but what it emphasizes. I'll give you an example. Now, typical sections can be in salons: open color, open monochrome, nature, travel or world in focus, and photojournalism. But as an example, when I say a street photograph, so what we generally in layman term look at as a street photograph, this can be presented either in an open color section or open monochrome section, or in travel or in photojournalism. So I cannot say a street photograph is only something, it's that's why I said it is not what it contains, but what it emphasizes. So it can go in anywhere. So these are some of the typical sections. Now, though this is not supposed to be the intent, I think it is important for me to mention something about the distinctions, because talking about distinctions will be a totally different webinar altogether going into that. But then it is important to understand about distinctions also, what they are and what they are not. So distinctions are not why the salons exist. So they are what happens when your participation becomes consistent. So it is a byproduct of your participation in salons. So it's not only why the salons exist. So what it means is that distinctions do not measure the best photograph of your life, or one-time brilliance, or your artistic peak. What they measure is your repeatability, your image discipline, and your long-term engagement. So what are distinctions? So they are nothing but official titles. So you can say your name is so and so, and then you put your BE, ME, PhD, etc., alongside that. So in a similar way, these photography distinctions are nothing but official titles, and they are awarded by recognized photographic institutions to photographers who achieve consistent success over many salons, across many salons over time. And distinctions exist to recognize sustained quality. So it's not just that you come up with some one image and then it does well and so that's it. No. So it has to be sustained over time. So it's a long-term thing. It's not something that can be achieved just like that and be done with. And it also is used to create measurable benchmarks for achievement. Now, there are different types of distinctions. I am going to touch briefly, but this briefly itself is, I think, a little elaborate. So it may be interesting for some people at least. So there are different types of distinctions: acceptance-based and portfolio-based. So in acceptance-based distinctions, you need to participate in salons, you need to accumulate acceptances. Those can be used to obtain distinctions. And you have to pay a fee to participate in every salon. And you have to pay a fee to process the distinction also. And some apex bodies require you to be members of that apex body to achieve the distinction. Whereas if it's a portfolio-based distinction, you don't need to participate in salons. You just need to produce a coherent portfolio as per the required standards of the apex body. And you pay a fee only to process the portfolio-based distinction, because anyway, you're not participating in salon. So it's just that for processing the portfolio, you need to pay a fee. And here also, some of the apex bodies, most of the apex bodies, in fact, they require that you be members of the apex body to achieve the distinction. Now, one of the, I already said, Photographic Society of America was born in 1934. So it awards a lot of distinctions. The acceptance-based distinctions, they're also called as ROPA. ROPA is recognition of photographic achievement. So there are different levels of ROPA: PPSA, MPSA, GMPSA, GMPSA, different levels. You can go on doing it all through your life. It takes, I mean, of course, there are people even in our club who have done it almost overnight, but then this is something that it can go on forever. There are other important things, because in Photographic Society of America distinctions, what they do is you have to obtain stars in each division. That means if you get some acceptances in open color and you get some acceptances in open monochrome, so all of them add up. So that means if you use the same title in both of them, then it is treated as two different titles, and it all adds up. So you can combine all of the stars to get your ROPA, and the acceptances and the titles count. How many titles you've got and how many acceptances you have for those titles. But the awards and countries don't matter. So how many awards you've got in PSA recognized salons, it doesn't matter for PSA distinctions. And whether it belongs, you've participated in a salon from a specific country. So when I say country, it doesn't mean that everything that is hosted in India is a national salon. No. So as I said, international salon has patronage from an international apex body, and it is tied to the organizing entity. So if, for example, if YPS is organizing an international salon, then the country of that salon is India. So even it can host a national salon, which country doesn't matter. But this is what is important. Why I'm saying this is, for some other distinctions like FIAP, countries matter. And you can use same title in multiple divisions, and there is no time restriction between different distinctions of PSA. That means, you can directly, you can collect all the acceptances that you need, and then you can directly apply to GM PSA. In the sense, get all the required stars, diamonds, galaxies, whatever, and apply to GM PSA directly. Or you can get PPSA this month, MPSA next month, and so on. So there is no restriction between the distinctions time restriction between the distinctions. There are also portfolio-based distinctions, BPSA, SPSA, GPSA. Vinya, who is here on the call today, recently got both bronze and silver portfolio distinctions from PSA. Congratulations, Vinya. And honors. So there are also honors distinctions for services to PSA or. So it's not just to PSA. Even if you are doing some services to the entire photography community, then you can get some honors distinctions like the APSA, FPSA. And there is also a higher level, which is the honorary PSA or the honorary FPSA. But PSA membership is needed to get to any of these things, which means that everything is money. So first you have to be a member, then you have to participate in salons or not, based on whether it's portfolio or not. Then you have to get acceptances, get those processed, you have to pay for that, and then you pay for the distinction also. It'll burn a hole in your pocket, that's for sure. But then you need to know, that's why set a budget and go according to that. So when you come to the FIAP distinctions, again here, there has been a major change in the FIAP distinctions from this year, from January, that is from this month, 2026 onwards, there is a big change. So there are different types of portfolio distinctions that have been added. Earlier it was just one, but now there are many. But in terms of acceptance-based distinctions also, there is a new level that is added, which is called NFIAP, which is the novice FIAP. So this is something for a beginner, and it is free. Free meaning you don't have to pay for it to be processed, but you need to have a minimum. There is some number of acceptances, whatever. So you can get that. So for beginners, it will really motivate them to maybe move forward. But in FIAP, between each of these levels that you see here, NFIAP or AFIAP, and all the levels and the diamonds, there has to be a minimum gap of 1 year. So if you get NFIAP now, then you cannot apply for AFIAP for another year. So it goes like that. And then there are requirements for each of these levels. And here in FIAP, the section is immaterial. That means your title, even if you have submitted the same title in open color or open monochrome, it's counted as only one title. So section is immaterial. And the awards, acceptances, titles, and countries, all of them count. And when you go to higher levels like the EFIAP Diamond 1 to Diamond 8, acceptances don't count at all. It's only awards that count. That means they expect such a high level of excellence from you as a photographer, so that they look at only awards. And as I said, you can only apply for one distinction a year, one acceptance-based distinction a year. But if it's portfolio-based distinctions, there also it is the same condition, but these are all portfolio-based, and they have prerequisites at some level. But these are very new, these portfolio-based distinctions. So you have PFIAP, portfolio FIAP, and then you have different levels, like PFIAP, bronze, silver, gold. Then MP FIAP is a new thing that is introduced. And earlier to 2026, the only portfolio-based distinction that was available in FIAP was MFIAP. And I'm very proud to say that H. Satish, our own YPS member and past president, he was the youngest recipient of this MFIAP. So he was very young when he received that. I don't think this record has been broken at all so far. So Satish, we are proud to be, I think he's on the call. So we are very proud to be associated with you, Satish. So now they have given him another challenge. So they said just MFIAP will not do. So you do all the portfolio based levels also. And then if you get MP-FIAP, then you add MFIAP to that and you will get GM-FIAP. So this is a new thing. And of course, here also there are honors, ES-FIAP, honorary FIAP, and Lifetime Achievement Award FIAP. And here again, one of our members, very well-known members, Digwas Bellamane, he is, I think he is the only Indian to have got the ES FIAP. So this is for contribution to the growth of FIAP. So congratulations, Digwas. Then from GPU, so you have distinctions, Crown, which is based on acceptances and awards, VIP, which is based on some just awarded photos as top prize, and you have portfolio base, and you have Grandmaster. Here, GPU membership is required. For FIAP, a direct membership is not required because you can be a member, I mean, through the Federation of Indian Photography is a member of FIAP. So you can go through that and you don't have to be a direct member. For GPU, you need to be a member. Similarly, there's RPS. So RPS, they have portfolio-based distinctions. So you have 3 levels, LRPS, ARPS, and FRPS. So licentiate, associate, and fellow. And the condition that RPS puts is if you want to use these distinctions, then you should be a continuous member of RPS. So, and membership you can renew every year. It's again, it costs quite a bit. So this happens to be my associate RPS presentation layout. So I got the ARPS distinction in 2022. And so this is the portfolio that I submitted, just to show you how some portfolio looks like. So this they have different genres, and visual art was one of them. And this is what I got in ARPS. This is what I submitted for ARPS. Then there is Master of Light. This is another apex body, and here again you have different levels of distinctions. You have competitive, which is based on acceptances and awards. Then you have artistic, which is portfolio based. And then you have honorary, which is HMOL. And here again, MOL, that's Master of Light membership, is required. And last but not the least, and very important for us in India, we have the Federation of Indian Photography, which offer a lot of distinctions. So here again, there are acceptance-based distinctions and portfolio-based distinctions and honors. So in acceptance-based distinctions, you have AFIP and EFIP, and new set of distinctions since the last 1 or 2 years is the GFIP and its levels. And then you have the portfolio-based distinctions and the honors. So in fact, both Prema Kakde and Vikas Shastri, our president, so both of them were awarded the ESFIP 2 years ago in 2023. So for again, honors are all due to the service rendered to the field of photography. So again, another example of this portfolio. This is the EFIP Gold portfolio. So this is what I submitted. For the portfolio distinctions, you have to submit a statement of intent. So the statement of intent has to be coherent with the pictures that you submit in your panel. That's very important. So for those of you who are pursuing portfolio-based distinctions, this is very important and you need to take care of that. Then this one is the MFIP portfolio, which got award. I got it last year. So this is the panel. For this, you need to submit a panel of 20 images, 20, or it can be 21 images also. Then similarly, this is the EFIP Gold in Nature. So this is the portfolio. So this again, every portfolio application has to be accompanied by a hanging plan and a statement of intent. Usually, but in FIAP, I think they have not asked for any statement of intent this time. Okay, so once you get these photography distinctions, then what then? So this is what I said, like you have your uh, the educational qualification or whatever, those degrees and all that alongside your name, you can put your photography distinctions also. So what you see on the right here is the all the pins, they call it pins, the pins I have received for my distinctions. So whatever you see here on the left side, whatever you see on the right, these are the pins I have been awarded for having got those distinctions. So all those distinctions, some of them can be cumulative. So which means that, for example, it shows EFIAP D2. So EFIAP D2 means I have got until AFIAP, EFIAP, then bronze, silver, gold, platinum, D1. So 7, 8. This is the 8th distinction of FIAP. So it replaces, it becomes cumulative. So what you see here on top, so this one is, these are the earned distinctions as a, because of participation, or it can also be the portfolio-based distinctions. And the ones that you see below, they are the honorary distinctions, which means that some clubs just give you those honorary distinctions because they recognize that you're doing something good for the photography community. But of course, some of them may give it even if you don't do anything. So it's not nice to put such things, but it is when it is coming from a reputed club, it is good. So you can use it as a part of your distinction. Okay, so now coming to how to participate in salons. So you understood something about salons. So how to participate in them? So there are two ways in which you can participate. One is you can participate as individuals, which means that you can get information through mails, social media, by word of mouth, etc. It could be any way. But if you participate as an individual, you may not get any discount on the entry fees. So from the last few years, photography salons have started to give discount to clubs, or if there are more than, maybe they have requirements, like they can say that if you're more than 5 members or 10 members, then you get a discount. So if you are participating as an individual, you will not get any discounts. And you may miss the information also, because it may come in some mail, it may not, you may have seen it somewhere, you may not bookmark it, so you may forget. So it's quite possible. The other way is you can participate through photography clubs or groups. So when you participate through photography clubs or groups, you will get info through your club. And the salons offer group discounts for clubs, and you can benefit from this. Now, a very interesting story. So you see this image, this was taken in September 2018. So this is when some heavyweights of YPS, some heavyweights, everyone was not a heavyweight. So some of them came together to, in fact, we had a meeting to decide how is it that we should pursue the salon journey for YPS members. How is it that we can take it forward? And that is when, so this was in fact very close by. So we all met, we had a discussion. And after this, the salon share group, some of you are already a part of it. You'll be, this was formed after that. So at that time, Krishna Bhatt, who you see on the rightmost side, so he and Digwas, who was standing next to him. So these two were actually driving the salon share group. And they used to pick and choose the salons in which we had to participate, or which we could participate, and they used to announce it, and then we used to get discounts and then participate. Of course, now Venkat was not in the picture at this time, so he's taking care of the salon part of it, and you get a lot of information related to what salon is happening, where, when, what is the kind of discount you get, and things like that. So that's very useful. So now, do you or should you participate in each and every salon that comes your way? I would say no. So what is it that you should look for? So when you're starting your salon journey in the beginning, you may be tempted to participate in each and every salon that comes your way. Based on your budget, you can take a call. But what should you look for? Now, I mentioned at the beginning, Prema also mentioned, so the YPS International Salon 2026 is open for registration now. It's already been open since a month. The closing date is March 1st. So that is not mentioned here on this creative. So this is what we used when the salon just opened. So participants, not participants, the people who we have in our database, they would have already received a mail that this kind of a salon is there, it is open. So if I were not connected to YPSA and I was somewhere else, and then what I would look for, if I have to participate in a salon, I would look for the name. That means why I say I look for the name is because there are some salons by some salon organizers which are very credible. So we know over a period of time that they are very genuine and they take care of everything properly, and they have an exhibition at the end. So the ultimate goal of a photography salon is that the pictures that have been awarded go up on the wall. So not everybody has an exhibition. So it is very important to choose wisely, to understand whether these people or these salon organizers are really going to have an exhibition or not. That's an important part of choosing which one. And then you look at the recognitions that the salon has. So you may have decided to pursue your journey in one way. Okay, you may think, okay, I shouldn't say that distinctions are a goal. I said they are byproducts, but it is when you start to participate in salons, maybe you will think, okay, I don't mind. I don't worry about awards. I'm just looking at improving my photography. Acceptances are enough. So I will just, look at PSA salons. Then maybe you go only for PSA. Otherwise, something else. So you just look at what recognitions this salon has and whether you want to participate or not based on that. And then you look at the sections, whether they are relevant to you, because you may be only a nature photographer, for example, and you may not want to participate in the other sections. And if the salon doesn't have a nature section, then what is the point in participating? So this is a common question that can arise. So you have to take a call whether these things are okay for you or not. And then the most important part is the rules. So it's not that every salon has the same rule. There are standard rules, definitely, for all salons which have some specific patronages. But you have to also specifically look at what rules are applicable. And then, of course, entry fee and what kind of discount you're going to get if you're participating through a club. And what is the closing date? You need to be aware. Not every, some salons, they open 3-4 months in advance and they keep sending you mails. So you may forget also during the course of time. So you have to make sure that you have registered that closing date correctly and that you are ready for it. And you have to look at what are the kind of awards that are there. There could be a special awards list also. It's not just the standard awards. So awards, when I say now, if I take the YPS International Salon 2026, for example, we have taken the patronage of FIAP, PSA, and others. So when I say we have taken the patronage of FIAP, we are following the rules of FIAP, and FIAP also gives some awards, which means it can say, okay, you can give a FIAP gold medal for the best in this section. And you can maybe give some FIAP ribbons. And if you want, you can buy additional medals also. And you can list that in your list of awards. So those are the awards. No cash awards here. I mean, at least in our salon here, for the international salon, no cash awards. So these are the medals which are given by FIAP, PSA, FIP, MOL, and YPS has its own set of awards, medals, and ribbons. Then you look at the jury. That's also very important. And then you have to look at the contact details and where the website is. So you will have to go back to it. So you will need to know, and if you have to contact the salon chairperson or some such thing, you will need to know the contact details. Then the exhibition date. So you look at all these things and then decide whether it's okay for you to, because when I say jury, you may look at the jury and say, no, I don't think I want to attend this. I mean, you will learn this as you go along. It's quite possible. Then, so talking about sections. So I said there are some very specific sections: open color, open monochrome, nature, photo travel or world in focus, photo travel, documentary. Now, and also photojournalism. Now, one thing is, there was some confusion in the past, at least in the last couple of years, where FIAP and PSA did not see eye to eye with respect to photo travel. So PSA made see, ideally, photo travel is a documentary section. So is nature, so is photojournalism, and which means that you cannot go and stage some pictures and say, okay, now this is travel. So PSA was against it, and so they brought in rules which said that no staged images are allowed, which means it should be as it is. But then at some point, initially both of them were in sync, and when PSA started to bring in more and more restrictions, then FIAP said they introduced a new section called World in Focus. So World in Focus is, it can have staged images also. They don't mind. So then there was a conflict between PSA and FIAP. And so this conflict got resolved this year, which means beginning of 2026. PSA has introduced now two sections for travel. One is Photo Travel W, which is the same as World in Focus of FIAP. And the other one is Photo Travel Documentary, in which these staged images are not allowed. And there are a few other things also, because PSA also had restrictions that in Photo Travel Documentary, you cannot show some long exposure pictures where the long exposure dominates the scene. So, that what they argue is that that's not how people see the world. So photo travel documentary should be the way people see the world. You should show the picture like that. So this is what it is. I mean, these are the sections. Photojournalism is again the kind of pictures that can go in the newspaper, and there can be many special themes like color, monochrome, and themes which could be. I mean, themes are not color and monochrome. Themes could be special themes which can accept either color or monochrome or both images, both kinds of. So just to all those things I said that you look for in a salon, I'll just quickly take you through those. So I'm using YPS International Salon 2026 as the example. So the website is salon.ypsbengaluru.in, and if you go to this website, you will see the various sections that are listed. So you can see here on the screen, this is a screenshot of the website. So if you go, you can see that, and we have rules which are specific to each of those sections. So when you look at the rules, it is very, very important that you look at, I shouldn't say when you look at the rules, I should say you must look at the rules for every salon. By and large, the rules will be similar, as I said. Similar meaning there should be almost the same, but there will be some section-specific rules, because it could be a theme section, and there could be salon-specific rules. That means that specific salon may impose some rules in addition to what is prescribed by FIAP, PSA, whatever. It's mainly FIAP and PSA. Then you must also pay attention to image sizes and borders and these kind of things. So you must go through the rules in detail. Now, for example, again, in the YPS International Salon, you see exhibition-specific rules. Now, what we say here is that images which are accepted in previous salons, whether it is international or national, we will not accept those for any other, for this exhibition in any of the same section. So it should not be even similar. And we don't allow nudity in pictures, because we have to put up the pictures on the, in CKP for YPS, we have an exhibition in Chitrakala Parishad, and we don't want to put up pictures of women or men in either partial or full nudity. So this may not be appropriate for viewing by children. So the Chitrakala Parishad also does not allow us to do this. So we do not accept those pictures. Then images of nesting are not allowed. Now, this is not something which is common to every salon. So this is something which is specific to the YPS salon. So here we don't allow pictures of bird nests, bird feeding young ones, and other similar pictures, because generally we consider that they may endanger the life of the subject. There is a very strong statement by both PSA and FIAP that you have to be ethical, you should not endanger the subject. So all these clauses are there, but they don't specifically say that nesting images are not allowed, and we in YPS we say it is not allowed. So if you didn't see these two clauses that I talked about, which are specific to the exhibition, then you may end up sending such images and they may end up getting rejected. They will end up getting rejected if you are not informed beforehand that you cannot submit these images. Plus there are other exhibition specific rules that you have to take care of. So what are the common rules that people may make in terms of sections? So we have seen this because in YPS we have a process in which we review the pictures by a team of the pictures that are submitted are reviewed by a team of reviewers before it goes for judging. So this is only to see to give the benefit of doubt, or to the participant in case they have made some mistakes like this. One could be a wrong section placement. That means you end up submitting color images in monochrome, which is a definite no-no. Or you could be posting or submitting monochrome images when the section is meant only for color. Now here you have to be very careful. In PSA, when the if you're participating in PSA salons, then very specifically you cannot combine color and monochrome images except in nature, photo travel, and photojournalism. And if there are some themed sections, so there could be woman as a section or architecture as a section or something like that. So they have to necessarily follow one path. It could be either color or monochrome. It cannot be both. But whereas if they are only FIAP salons and you have a section called architecture, maybe it could be both color and monochrome. So you have to be very careful about this and look into this. And then one of the most common mistakes that we see that salon participants, whether new or experienced, make is human element violations in nature. So nature section doesn't allow the presence of human elements in the picture. So, but we see somewhere there is some lighthouse or wires and roads and all these kind of things. So you have to make sure that you take care of this. And then, as I mentioned, staged or controlled scenes. So if you are talking about, or if you are looking at documentary sections, then make sure that you do not submit such pictures which are staged and or they have controlled scenes. And then you look at the entry fees. So you have the information, you have information about the discount also on the screen. Then similarly, when I said look at the dates, so we have published our salon calendar on the YPS International Salon. So you can go through this and you can see when exactly what is happening. Then this is the list of awards. So there are so many awards for every section. And again, there are rules by apex bodies how many awards you can give. So it's only some 10% of the accepted images can be awarded. So that is also there. And you have to make sure that you participate with your best images and you look out for special awards. So in every section, it doesn't happen in every salon, but in some salons, there can be special awards, like it could be a best portrait, best landscape, best action, best architecture. There can be so many things. It's always important that you go through the list of awards to see if there is any special award. And maybe you can fit in, it's not a special section. So it's included as a part of the submissions that you make. So typically you are allowed to submit 4 images in every section, not more than 4. It's usually only 4 in all salons. It's 4 sections per image. So one of those pictures, let's say portrait, maybe you submit a very good portrait in the color section so that it can be considered for the best portrait. I mean, it's not that you are telling them. It is there is a possibility that it may end up getting the best portrait. So think about it. Then the jury. So this is a snapshot of the YPS International Salon. So you see this honorable jury over here. And I'm happy to say Satish has agreed to be a jury member for the YPS International Salon 2026. He will be the jury member for both monochrome and nature sections. First time he's doing it for YPS. And on our website, we also have the profile of each of the jury members. So you can check out. And this is important because sometimes very inexperienced jury may be there on board, or sometimes the same jury. Generally what happens is this jury selection is a very tricky thing, because not every jury is conversant with every section. So you have to make sure that you check out the jury and then you participate. And of course, you bookmark the website, and then you can contact the organizers when, if at all you need. And once you have all this information and you decide that you are going to participate in this salon, then you can register for the salon. So usually there's an entry form, and then you can go and register for it. And a special note to seasoned participants. So from this year onwards, FIAP requests you to, requires you to add your FIAP FP number, FIAP profile number. So there is a possibility to do it in the YPS salon website. So you can go to your profile, and then you can add your FP number over there. Yeah. So now, once you participate in the salon, the most important thing is the bookkeeping. So this is the most important part once you start participating in salons, because as I said, it's not a single event. So there are so many salons that you will be participating in. So this is a typical layout that I follow. I have an Excel sheet with all these columns that you see over here. If any one of you wants it, I can share it with you. So I keep track of the salon name, along with it the website address. But the thing is, unless it is a credible salon, if you go to that website after a few months or a year, nothing will be there. So in fact, PSA has made it mandatory that you have to keep this URL active for at least 1 year from the date of closing of the salon. So you can keep this information, then when it is closing, when are the results. And earlier there used to be different sizes and all that. So I used to keep track of the sizes also, and how much money is paid, what are the patronages, whether it's national, international, which is the country, what are the categories, what are the accepted titles, and what are the awards that I've got. So I have this complete list. It's always better to keep this list. But in addition to this list, what is also good to keep is that you organize your salons folder like this. So I have organized them by year. I'm just showing you a part of it. So 2023, 24, 25. So if I take salons of 2025, I have their salon, which is ABC Clicks. So that, I mean, this is the this entry also appears in the Excel sheet, but this is the way the files are organized. So under that, I have color, monochrome, and whatever was there, people three sections, and all the images that I've submitted under those sections. And then I also keep the payment receipt right there in the same folder. And when the result comes, I upload the result to the same folder. And if there is a catalog, I put the catalog also over there. So it's very important that you keep track of this information in this way. I mean, this is a good way because this is what I've been doing. I found it useful. So today also, if you ask me, which salon did you participate in 2017, I can give you every single salon with every picture that I have participated and the result. And it is also updated in the Excel sheet, which is like a database inventory. So tracking your results and awards. So when the results are notified, you will get an individual scorecard. The results will also be announced on the website, and the salon organizers, they have to send this information. It's called as EDAS or SDAS. So exhibition data acceptance system, something like that. So they have to send it to the apex body so that it gets recorded there. When you apply for distinction, you have to prepare your own Excel sheet in the format which is prescribed by the apex body. And when it goes to them, they will verify your acceptance against the list they have to see if that is what it is. So you have to make sure that you have all this information with you. And you also ensure that you follow up with the salon organizers to get your award. So many of them give the date of dispatch as award or dispatch of award as something on their website, but you may or you may not end up getting your award on time. So if you don't get it, you can follow up. It's better you follow up with them. And another thing is, if you are getting medals, whichever, whether it is FIAP, PSA, etc., they are supposed to engrave your name and the title of the picture and other things on the medal, so that when you look at the medal by itself, you know that, okay, this is for this person. Many organizers, they just send medals just like that. You can give it to somebody else. So, with no name, nothing, no history at all. So that's not a very good practice. But in YPS, we have very religiously followed this process of engraving the name and the name of the person, the name of the title of the picture, and all those things on the award. So choosing pictures for salons. Finally, maybe the section that you've been waiting for. Yeah, Venkat, thanks. Electronic Data Acceptance System. EDAS, that's what I mentioned. So choosing pictures for salons. How do you choose pictures? See, for one thing, what do you do when you're not doing photography, in the sense you're not participating for salons or any such thing? You may be shooting pictures for yourself, then you show it to your family, and then you show it to your friends, and then everybody says it is fine. But then when you start to actually go to the next level, maybe you go to the club level, you show it to people, they may or may not like it may or may not stand. And similarly, when you go to the next level, it may not be acceptable at all. So one of the ways of getting feedback is to show it to your seniors or peers, and then people who are already in this field for long, just show it to them and check with them if it is something that will work for salons. And then you can also go through catalogs of various salons. So when I mentioned those credible salons, they have a dedicated website and they have catalogs listed over there. You can download them anytime. You can go through the pictures, kind of pictures that I've submitted in every section. It doesn't mean that the same trend will continue every time, because things keep changing. But then you get a very fair idea of where you stand when you look at those pictures. So this is one of the ways. Apart from that, one of the most important things that you should look at is naming of the images. So once an image is titled, you cannot change its title. So even if you use the same for both color and monochrome versions, you cannot retitle the image. As an example, I have a picture here in color, which is titled Le Louvre. And if I convert the same thing to the monochrome version, I still have to use the same title, Le Louvre. I'm not supposed to change this title. However, what is allowed is, once you title an image, though you cannot change its title, you can improve the same image. You cannot retitle it, but you can improve the same image. What I mean is, now this is one image which I titled as Jeeves, and I had submitted it to a couple of salons. It didn't work. Then I thought, no, why isn't it working? Maybe I should do something better. So I made these changes. So you can see that there is a clear difference between that image and this image. So I've made it look better. So, but the title is the same. So you are allowed to improve the image. Otherwise, how do you improve it? Because if they say once you've titled the image, you cannot retitle it, there should be a provision for you to improve the image. So you can still do that. That is something that is allowed. The next one is about the sizes of the images that you submit to salons. So most of the salons have now a standard, which is 1920 by 1080. Earlier, there used to be different. Now it is 1920 by 1080. So you make sure that your picture does not exceed these dimensions in either of the directions, not greater than 1920 on the longer side and not greater than 1080 on the shorter side. And if your picture doesn't conform to this exactly, then it is also okay to do this, because it should not be more than 1920 on the longer side, which means it can be less than that, while you fix the shorter side to 1080 pixels. Similarly, for if the longer side, if it's also possible that you have your orientation in such a way that the longer side you can restrict to 1920, while the shorter side becomes less than 1080. So both these are allowed. Another possibility is that you have in the portrait format. In that case, if they have specified 1920 by 1080, then your vertical side should, the longer side should be 1080, and the shorter side becomes less than 1080. And then you can also submit square images where you have 1080 by 1080 pixels. So this will also work. And you be careful, not everything is 1920 by 1080. It could be 1920 by 1200. So you need to look at it accordingly. Plus there will be a file size limitation, which will say maybe less than 2 MB. Usually it's less than 2 MB, but you have to look for it specifically. And it's more often than not sRGB and 300 PPI. So you have to follow that also when you are resizing your images. Then what are the qualities for acceptance? So the most important for picture for acceptance is the subject, the choice of the subject. So every picture that you take everywhere, which you use it for your records, it cannot go as a salon picture. So your choice of picture I mean, choice of subject has to be very carefully thought out. And then you have to make sure that the lighting is right on the subject. So some subjects look good in side light, some look good in backlight. So you have to make sure your lighting is right. Then composition. Composition is something that makes or breaks a picture. So you have to make sure that your composition is balanced. You've placed the subject correctly. So these are the basic things anyway. Then how you treat the subject, whether it is a subject that you need to shoot in a wide angle, or is it something that you need to go close using a telephoto and shoot, or is it something that works well in color, or is it something that can be converted to monochrome. So these are the things that you need to look at in subject treatment. And when it comes to processing, processing is very important. So even if you end up shooting the best of pictures and you don't process it properly, then it's as good as losing the picture. So there is nothing you can do about it. You have to be very careful, and while processing you have to make sure that it fits the rules of the salon. Then qualities for award. So when the salons or when the jury looks for pictures that can be awarded, they look for something that is new and fresh. So if you keep repeating the same kind of images, that have been going on for a long time, even as a juror, I also tend to say, oh no, I've seen that picture before. So we look for something that is new and fresh, and it should have a wow factor. So the moment you look at it, you think, oh my God, it's so good, kind of thing. Of course, it has to fit in with everything else. And of course, it is a good thing if it is action oriented. So action oriented pictures tend to score better. Again, it also depends on the section, but more often than not, there should be something. It cannot be very even in stillness you can show some action, and it should be eye catching. And of course, the processing should be excellent, because what happens is, in this process of jurying or judging in the salon, first the pictures are scored, which means on a scale of, it may be 1 to 9 or it can be 1 to 5. The pictures are scored by all the 3 jury members. Usually the jury panel consists of 3 members. So it is scored, and then the pictures with the highest scores from the top, they are taken to the next level where the awards are decided. So when it comes to the award level and the jury members start discussing about it, that's when the jury members also start to look at it with a fresh set of eyes, I can say. And there, even some small flaws which are there can come to the fore, and whatever one jury member has not observed may be brought to the front by the other 2 jury members or whatever. And then things can happen, and then they really tend to look at it at a very macro level. And that's when it becomes very really important for you to make sure that everything is right. Your processing especially is very, very important. So now we come to the interesting part where you will see some pictures, and what are the kind of pictures that can work in a section like open color, which is open, by the way, which means that a lot of flexibility is allowed. But AI is a no-no in any section, whether it is open or closed. AI is no-no. So all elements of the image has to be shot by the author. So it cannot be created by AI. Not even a single element can be created by AI. How we are going to decide whether something is AI or not is a very big challenge for now. So we can park that aside for now and see what is it that works in open color. So it can be a composite image. So you can use your creativity. It is open color. So anything and everything under the sun can work here. So what are the kind of images that work in the open color section? So one of the major categories that work are portraits with some emotional connection. So a lot of portraits, in fact, open color section comes with a lot of portraits, not just studio portraits, but also environmental portraits. And then architectural images with some good light and geometry. So with my experience in salons, I tend to see that something like the spiral or these kind of leading lines, they actually work very good with architecture. So this is another example. So here no spirals, but they are straight lines, but they are, this is something that has worked very well for me. And then this one again, so you see the sweeping curves. So it has done very well in the color section. So you need to look. I mean, I'm not saying these are the only things. I'm saying these are some of the images that can do well. Then you can also have some creative pictures. So here they can be conceptual or creative ideas. So they can be conceptual or creative, but it should not be oversaturated or any such thing. Here this is an image of the Saurus cranes that I took in Bharatpur. So here it was very it was very what do you say, misty all the days that I was there. And so later this is one of the images that I used as a portfolio for the ARPS. So what I decided to do here was that I made it a composite by superposing some different skies that I had shot earlier on this. Then this is another similar image. So this is also creative using the same concept where I have blended some skies with the original photograph. All the skies were shot by me. So that's what I said. All visual elements should be shot by you. So this is another example. So I will show you later this picture also in monochrome. It should not be overcooked. So this is very important. So something which is very oversaturated and all that, these kind of pictures don't tend to work. Then you can also replace the skies. In open color section, you can replace the sky. So this is an image that was shot in Kannur. So this Kalari Payattu, and the sky was very bland. So it was evening, but then there were no specific colors. So what I have done is I've used one of the skies I had shot earlier. And make sure that you don't use any of the bought skies or the ones that are available in Photoshop. Because once this very soon after the sky replacement tool was available in Photoshop, and we started to when I was judging some salons, I could easily make out that some of the skies are from Photoshop, because those skies were, them. People use them all the time for social media and all that. It is okay because nobody cares over there. But in salons, it is a definite no-no. You have to make sure that any sky that you're using, it has to be shot by you. It can be a different picture, but you have shot that and then you have used the same thing to make a composite. And then minimalist compositions. So these are some of the things that can also work. So you can see here it's a minimalistic composition. This is another minimalistic composition. Then you have another one here. This is a drone shot, but it is still a minimalistic composition. So these kind of things work very well in color sections. Then you can have pictorial images. It could be silhouette and backlit forms. So this is a picture that can also go in nature section, because the editing is very much in tune with what is required by the nature section. So I have not over edited it as such. This is how it was shot. And this is another one, the shot from Bharatpur. So this also is a backlit. I mean, it's more of it's not really. Yeah. So that's the moon in the background that you see over there. So this again is not over edited, so it can still work for the nature section. But then I have been using it mainly in the color section. This is another one. This is from Indonesia. So you can see this. It's backlit. So this kind of picture. So pictorial images typically tend to do very well in color sections. So color pictorial, color monochrome. So they tend to do very well in the respective sections. And similarly, this one, so here we are looking at pictorial landscapes in the golden hour or the blue hour. These things also tend to work well. This is also a travel image, so it can go into the travel section, but then it does well in the color section also. So this is another landscape with mist and all that. So this is a drone shot. But again, these are the kind of things. It may not always win an award, but at least it goes to, you can get a lot of acceptances. This is another one. So again, a landscape in the golden hour. So you can look at these kind of pictures do well in the color section. And then architectural forms in soft light. So this is a picture which a few of us, some 4 or 5 of us have this picture because we all taught it together. Satish also has this. So this picture has done well. Now, what I used to find initially when I was, maybe I forgot to mention this, but in the before COVID. So before COVID, all the judging used to be offline. So meaning that there was no online judging. So physically, the jurors had to go and sit in a hall or in a room or something, and they had to score the pictures, and then they had to decide on the awards. So everywhere it was like that, which means that the possibility of an international jury member coming to India and being a part of this jury was not very common, unless that person happened to come to India for some work, and then he came to our jury panel, or he, we knew that he was going to be in India, therefore put him on the jury panel. So what used to happen was, most of the salons that took place in India, even if it's an international salon, used to be judged by Indian jury. So when they saw pictures which are coming from outside of India, those kind of pictures tended to perform better than the ones which they had commonly seen within India. And similarly, the other way, when the foreign salons, when they started to look at pictures that came from Indians, then maybe here we get more culture related things and all that. And then, it was new for them. And so they started to, those things used to perform well over there. But after COVID, everything went online. So most people, I don't think there's anybody who's doing offline judging, maybe 1 or 2 salons. In fact, YPS was one of them, and we are still trying very hard to bring back the offline judging, where the infrastructure is still a challenge for us. So now what has happened is, you have international jury members who are looking into the Indian salons, the Indian international salons also. So there is a mix. So you can always see what works, what doesn't work. Things are changing. This is another one. So here, this is also a drone shot, but then you have, in pictorial, you have reflections, fog, rain, long exposures, any of those things work. So this is a long exposure. So this can work because it's not really, the long exposure is not dominant. It could still go in photo travel documentary, I guess, but I have not tried it there. Then this is another one from Hampi, so where there is a reflection. So these things also tend to work in the color section. Then when you look at some travel kind of scenes which are treated in a painterly manner, so here I've tried to do a different kind of processing for this kind of HDR. So this picture also performed well in the color section. Similarly, some travel images where you have people, place, and the atmosphere. Only thing is that, here you see that it is slightly vignetted. So this vignetting is not allowed in documentary section or in travel section, for example. It's not allowed. So this was before, I don't remember if I submitted this in the travel section. Probably I did. But at that time, they were not too specific about the vignetting. So they didn't have any very specific rules about vignetting. This is another one from Amsterdam where people were skating on frozen ice or frozen canals. So this is also something that works very well for color. And this is another one. Incidentally, I have not tried this in travel at all. So there are some pictures which you can use in travel. Also, you can use in color. But this is something that would work for travel, but I have not used it in travel. And this is another one. I've always used it in color because I have deliberately enhanced the saturation here a little. It's when you go to this place, unless it has had a fresh coat of paint, you don't see it so bright and it doesn't look so saturated. So I have done that because it is a color section and it is okay here. But the same thing, I wouldn't submit it to the travel section because it can be treated as oversaturation. Though it doesn't appear oversaturated, but it is really bright, good for a color section. This is another one. This is more of a travel image, but this is something that it looks more pictorial. It works for the color section. And this is also another color image. This works for travel also. So there is nothing wrong in submitting this to travel, but it works equally well in color. And then you have those special themes where it can be, they have started to introduce a lot of new themes these days. One is it can be life, then it can be woman, it can be man, woman, child. There are so many things. So this is a picture which would work for the daily life kind of thing, because it's daily life moment with some storytelling. Then this is another one which is basically a street image, but then it also goes for daily life and in general color. And another one where the I know it's a slow shutter, so this also works. It can also be a street image. This works for color equally well. It's done very well. And similarly this one, so again I would say it is, these kind of images tend to do well in the color section. And still life, so still life is something that does very well in the color section these days. Again, it's back to I mean, it's like back in the fore. So this was like many years ago, 6 7 years ago, when we did this glassware. But then now there are a lot of different forms of still life, and all of them are doing pretty well in color section. So I don't have any of the new things, but then if you have any of the new ways of doing still life, please give it a shot. It will definitely work. So what are judges looking for in color section or in a similar, okay, mainly in color section, but most of the points are common to what they look for in a monochrome section. One is the immediate visual impact. This is definitely there. Then color harmony. So there should be a limited palette, no chaos in the colors. Then there should be some emotional or aesthetic pull. The composition should be balanced. The light quality, they look at the light quality. So something which is soft, directional, atmospheric, it does very well. Then there should be visual calm, nothing which is shouting for attention, and no obvious technical flaws. And why some of these images may fail? When there is over processing. So you make it a very harsh HDR, or you oversaturate it, too many colors fighting with each other, no clear visual anchor, you don't know where to look when you look at the picture, distracting backgrounds. It's a pretty place, but an average photo. This happens a lot. And no originality. So they've seen the same kind of pictures again and again. So now I just want to quickly touch upon color abstracts. Why I'm doing this is because this is a section in the YPS International Salon 2026. And I want to be sure that whoever is here and is participating in this salon, make sure that they have that they are prepared for this section. So what are color abstracts? So it's all about form, color, rhythm, texture, or pattern. It's a very interesting section, and I suggest that all of you try to participate in this with your best pictures. So it is not dependent on identifying the subject. It's an abstract. It doesn't define the subject. It can be, I mean, it's basically something that could be color led, which means that it can have limited colors, strong harmony, clear transitions, or it can be design driven. So it can have a strong geometry, repetition with disruption, and clear visual rhythm. These kind of pictures work. And they will not work when the jury looks at it and say, what am I looking at? I'm confused. I don't know what I'm looking at. Or too many colors with no hierarchy, random crops, abstracts with no intent, heavy textures or effects added later, because when you actually shoot something up close and as an abstract, then the tendency is to add a lot of effects later. Don't do that. So typically, maybe a juror would say, if it looks like it could be wallpaper, it better be the best wallpaper I've ever seen. So make sure that it goes like that. So just some pictures which I tried to put together for color abstracts. So this is not entirely not defining a structure, but it could work. Color blocks with strong geometry. Then it could be reflections which are broken by ripples. Another example of the same thing. Then it could be tight crops of architecture. So they work as abstracts. This is actually a part of a bridge. Then this is that bean structure in Chicago. So this is um, an abstract. Then again, tight crops of architecture this way, or patterns in the water or sand. Typically, they would make good abstracts. Patterns in fabric, wildlife close-ups can make very good abstracts. So give it a try. Just look at what can work, what cannot work as abstracts. Choose wisely, and then submit to this color abstract section in YPS International Salon. So we have 3 more sections to go. Open monochrome. What kind of pictures work? Dramatic portraits with maybe character, wrinkles, expression. So I'm just showing you examples of what has worked for me and what could work for you too. So portraits for sure. A lot of portraits you see in both open color and open monochrome. And again, not just studio portraits, also environmental portraits. So it could be anything. There are, because you can also get creative, and there are a lot of creative environmental portraits that are shown in or that are submitted in the monochrome sections. And then architecture which emphasizes form and structure. So you can make sure it can work very well. This would probably have worked well in color as well, but then I felt it makes it more impactful when it is converted to black and white, where you have all the tones which are visible. And then again, this is another example of architecture. So in black and white, you have to be very careful. What is it that you can convert to monochrome? And when I say monochrome, there is again, you need to make sure you read the rules properly, because in monochrome, some of the salons will say it should be only tones of black, gray, black, white, and gray, nothing else. So sepia and other things will not be allowed. So you have to make sure you read the rules properly, so that you understand what works and what doesn't work. But by and large, it has to be toned in a single color. But whether that color can be anything other than gray, that you need to see. Then this is another one where architecture and which is about architecture, and yet another one. So this also has worked for me in color also. Then again, when you have architecture with reflections, so that also tends to work. There's another one from Hampi where you have reflections. And these are architecture abstracts, I can say. So they are just part of a building here. So when you see a lot of these geometry, things like that also work well in monochrome. Then you have street moments with light and shadow. These are also the kind of pictures that work well. And you will also have some specific sections in monochrome which are light and shadows and things like that. Especially Master of Light has some of these sections. So you can look at these kind of things. Then some high contrast storytelling scenes can also be. This is one of my recent pictures. It's been doing quite well in both color and in monochrome. And then there could be motion and gesture. So typically pictures that show that. Now these kind of things which they tend to work well in monochrome. Then light driven landscapes. So when you see a lot of play of light and shadow in landscapes, so typically these work very well for monochrome. And also this is another example from Leh. Then again, this is from Bromo. So this has also been doing very well. And then some emotional or atmospheric landscapes. So here what you see is a long exposure. So I have made sure that this is a long exposure. So this gives a very a feeling of stillness, time. So these are the kind of pictures that work very well. And then nature subjects in open monochrome. So the subjects are, I mean, it's basically nature subject, but you are presenting it in monochrome. Now, this is not the other way. If I were to submit this in nature, probably I would be exceeding, or I would not be adhering to the rules of nature, because in nature, only nature and all the documentary sections, only a direct conversion to monochrome is allowed. They don't allow you to change the tones and all as you want. So this probably would not be, I mean, at this specific image, I don't remember, but you have to make sure that only if it's a direct conversion to monochrome, you can use it in nature. Otherwise, any nature image, when you do it like this in monochrome, it is okay. And similarly, this one. So it's a nature subject in monochrome. So this is not the way it would look if I were to do a direct conversion to monochrome. So I would not submit this in nature. Maybe as a color image, yes, but not as a monochrome image. And then travel images in open monochrome where you have drama. Only thing is you have to make sure that when you strip a picture of color, it really works for monochrome. You have to see only if it works in monochrome, you have to use that. Otherwise, maybe it is better left in color only. And then some creative monochrome. So you can try because open section, so you can do whatever creative work that you want. Now coming to nature. So I think you will have to hold on for a few more minutes. Nature. So there could be, nature has very specific rules. Please make sure that you read them. No human elements, and this kind of feeding is okay. Bird, the hide photographs are okay, except when you use baiting, live baiting with, baiting with live fish and things like that. Live baiting, that's called. So when you do that, they don't accept such images unless, if they know that that is what is done, it's definitely not a good thing. So you have to be anyway ethical. So you cannot do that. But these kind of images are okay. And in fact, this image very long back, it did very well in color, in nature. Then I think I converted to monochrome very rarely, but this did very well. This is from bird hide. This one is also from, so any kind of interaction, I'm talking about birds here. So interaction will work. So this is another one from Mangal Jodi. So generally in national salons, even in international salons, these kind of pictures of Mangal Jodi I've seen they tend to do very well. This one is another one, not a very clean background and all that, but because of the kind of interaction that is there, it has worked. It has not got an award, it's got acceptance. Then bird behavior. So this is not something that you see very commonly. So they tend to look for something which is not very common, and which you don't see. So it's a record of natural history. So what is it, if it's a rare moment and things like that, that's what they look for in nature images. So this is from Hampi. It shows, in fact, the habitat also. This one again, very common bird, but just to show the habitat, it's a nice image. And then wildlife in natural habitat, and this one happens to be with its backlit also. Only thing is this picture, this kind of pictures will not work in Indian salons. So they don't, it will probably not even get accepted. But in international salons, and specifically some of them who really look at nature not as just chase and kill, so those kind of salons will accept these kind of images. And wildlife, when you elephant images generally tend to do well in international salons because not everybody has seen elephants. But of course, these days everyone is going to Africa, so everyone has started seeing elephants. But if you are showing something different about elephants, it's something that can work. And in these skill kind of scenes, I found that this image was doing very well, mainly because I felt the reasoning I gave myself was that it is showing the full environment. So you see many images where the lion or the lioness is very, eating the kill from very close up and things like that. So you just get to see that action, but you don't know how the surrounding is. So this is an image I felt which included everything, and that's the reason why I feel it's been doing well. This one is that close up. So this is more of a parenting kind of thing. This is that baby, the cub, which is talking to the sub-adult over here. And similarly, this kind of thing, the parent, I have seen that these kind of images tend to work well. Mating is very common. Everybody comes with a mating image, but still, I don't know why it is still being accepted and awarded. So you can still try it for as long as it works. And then when I say creative nature, here I have not tried to make anything creative, but then it is shot in a creative way. So I knew this is how I wanted to shoot it. So this is what I have done. And apart from that, landscapes also work well in nature, but then it has to be exceptional to be able to actually get some awards in the nature section. Otherwise, it's better off. It's better you put it in specific sections called landscape. Then photo travel, world in focus. I don't want to show too many pictures over here because things have been changing. But typically, these are some of my pictures which have done very well in the past. So I don't know if they will continue to do so well in the current scenario. But then this I felt is something because maybe it was all encompassing or whatever. It gave a very wide view. So that one and this, the Colosseum, the inside of the Colosseum, and this Eiffel Tower from this angle. All these pictures did very well. Some of them were actually shot only in JPEG. I had shot on them only in JPEG. And I also tend to see that the Santorini pictures, however they are, they get accepted and they even get awarded. I don't know what is the obsession with Santorini. Then this one is, it has probably not gone up to the award level, but this is something that can work for travel. And this is a long exposure picture, so it doesn't go against any of the rules set for photo travel, but it has worked both in monochrome as well as in color. And this is another one from Santorini, which got many acceptances. This is from our own key monastery. So these kind of things, it's see, finally, one of the things that the judges, when they're looking at photo travel images, tend to argue is that if somebody goes to this place, if they are able to get this shot anytime, then what is the great thing that you're doing? So anybody who goes there will be able to get the shot. So they look for something which is not something that can be repeated. So in that sense, this image so far has done very well. So this is one of my most awarded pictures. And in fact, Satish had a comment about this. He said, you've got a gold medal for each and every person that is there in this image. So it's performed so well. So it's from the Mahamastakabhisheka in 2018. The next one is going to be in 2030. So nobody has, apart from the ones that attended that, no one else has these kind of images. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who are going to go there in 2030 to shoot this. This one is also from there. So generally people, culture, emotion, these things are becoming more and more important in travel, and they are the ones that are getting awarded in travel. So this is another one which shows a scene in Varanasi. And this is one of my recent pictures from Varanasi last year during the Mahashivratri. So it's not yet 1 year, and this has won a lot of awards so far, because I don't think I've not seen anybody having this kind of image at that angle, at least from this specific occasion. So these are some of the examples of photo travel. And with photojournalism, there are two kinds of photojournalism. One is they say general and human interest. So generally, the two categories are defined, but they work the same in the sense like you could give either of them. So this is one image which has worked very well. I don't know if it will continue to work well, but these kind of some protests and things like that, because something that would go in a newspaper, documentary. So these things work well. This kind of image has also worked. In fact, in one of the salons, it got a PSA gold medal. I was also surprised, but it has worked. And this aero show pictures also tend to work, because here it's documentary. In photo travel, this would never work, because in photo travel, the image has to give a sense of place. But in photojournalism, it's okay. You don't need to think about a sense of place. So this is also something that works. And any kind of this cultural event or whatever, these kind of things, they work. That means all those pictures that worked in photo travel So those kind of things work here also. So this works equally well in photo travel as well as in photojournalism. And Theyyam pictures also are doing very well in photojournalism. And you have Jallikattu, Kambla, all these things, at least, and all the Durga Puja, Ganesh Utsav, all these kind of pictures do very well, both in travel as well as in photojournalism. So, in conclusion, what I want to say is what salons can realistically give you. So, to the beginners, it can give feedback through acceptances. To regulars, you can refine your pictures and you can improve your consistency. And to the advanced participants, it can give validation and it can give visibility. So, having said that, salons are a mirror. They don't tell you what to shoot, but they show you how your work is being read. So with this, I come to the end of my presentation. I have taken, I'm almost on time, I can say. So thanks a lot to all of you who are still sticking around. So maybe I should, I'll just unmute all of you.
Yeah, actually, I request people to put up their questions, if any. That would be easier for me to call out the questions and Anitha ma'am can respond.
Yeah, thanks to all of you for being here. Because I have unmuted all of them and I've also enabled your video. So you can now please ask your questions if you have any.
Yeah, I have one question. So, like in a salon,
Mhm.
we get a rating, say 1 out of 5.
Mm.
So, suppose if one gets 2 out of 5,
Mm.
so where does the picture lack? Like we don't come to know that. With the scoring, we don't get to know the flaws where one lacked.
No, you will not know that. But once you know that your picture has not been accepted, then you have to introspect. So that's why I said when you, let's say in a specific salon, a few of your pictures didn't get accepted. Now you, every salon is mandated to provide a gallery of the accepted pictures also now. Earlier that was not the case because you would only see a list of pictures. Now there is a gallery which you can go and see. So you can look at the kind of pictures that have been accepted, and at least that can help you know where you stand. So why your picture didn't get selected. And again, having said that, it is not necessary that there is a specific reason why your picture got rejected, because what gets even awarded in some salons may get rejected in some other salons, because it is, judging is subjective. So it also depends on the jury. So again,
But again, as a participant, we know we don't get the clarity because it remains as a suspense.
yeah, so what you can do is you can show that picture to some peers or your seniors, and you can ask them what doesn't work in that image. So I think that is one of the ways in which you can understand or introspect why something didn't work.
Okay. Fine.
Madam, is there any restriction in terms of when the photograph was taken? I mean, if I have old photos, can I even use those for?
Usually not in salons, but that's where this reading of the rules comes into picture. You know, these days there are a lot of free salons. So they just say, okay, free salon, and then everybody is interested to participate because they don't need to pay a fee, and then they participate. But then they don't read that small print which says photographs have to be shot only before after this, or only in this year, and things like that. So it is always mandatory to read the rules end to end before you participate in a salon and then take a call. But by and large, in the paid salons, I don't see any restriction so far on the days, on dates, or the years in which it was shot. So even, in fact, some of the salons even allow you to scan your slides and then use that.
Correct, thank you.
Madam, this is Ramesh here.
Uh-huh.
A lovely session. I have a question. Most of the salons ask for pictures in specific size, format, etc. So how do you achieve the required size without compromising, the quality of image?
Yeah, no, that is why, see, quality of the image, when you're exporting your image, you will set the quality to whatever. In Photoshop, I think you can say 100 or whatever, and in Lightroom also you have quality is full, but the dimensions are less. So see, finally what happens is when they specify 1920 by 1080, say, so why is that specification there? That specification is there because you're going to look at your pictures on a screen which has a resolution of 1920 by 1080. So they should not zoom into your picture. That is a requirement actually, that they should not zoom in. They have to see it at that resolution only. So this means that you're not really going to lose anything in terms of quality. It's just that you are in the size in which it is going to be viewed, the quality is not going to be lost. So you make sure it is 300 ppi if that's what they say. And while you're exporting it, you set it to the required dimension, you will still get it with full quality.
One more point to add here. Actually, when we used to do offline projection, or even now, there are a couple of places that they are doing offline projection. Most of the projectors across the globe, of course, there are very few models of 4K projectors these days, but most commonly the projectors available across the globe have a vertical resolution of 1080, which is the reason when you do portrait, you can actually not rotate your picture and make 1920 on the longer side. Earlier, Anitha ma'am did show the picture and said that it should be lesser than 1080. But one thing to very, very clearly remember, especially when it's your portrait image, don't worry that your picture horizontal side is becoming 700 or whatever. The highest that can be in the current rules and regulations of all recognition bodies, the vertical side should not exceed 1080. So basically, the rule stands to say that your pictures submitted should be watched by the jurors in 100% size, neither fit to size nor zoomed in, which is the reason why a specific requirement of the rather the limitation of vertical and horizontal is given.
Yeah, and also
Thank you.
many salons, when you're submitting the image, they don't accept it if it is more than that specified size, but less than it, it will accept. So you have to be careful. I think what you should be more worried about is submitting an undersized picture, especially when you're participating in many salons and you start to export some image and then put it in one salon, and you may forget to change the settings if at all it needs to be different for another salon. So you just have to make sure that you're clear about that also.
I have one more question. Suppose, like if I take a particular, if I take a photo of a particular place, say travel photography, I may be having some kind of a subject knowledge of their theme, of that culture, of that place, of that event. And when you submit the picture, and the picture turns out to be very good in terms of storytelling, it has, like contains the soul of that place or of that theme. But when it's submit in the salon, like it does not work out. Because sometimes you feel that the person who's judging, he may not have that kind of subject knowledge to really appreciate that.
It's possible.
So that time it hurts a lot.
Yeah, see, the only thing is that you have to, I mean, just submitting to one salon, and if it gets rejected, don't be disappointed. Because as I said, what is not accepted in one salon can even win an award in something else. So it all depends upon the jury, and that is why understanding the jury is also more important. So if you look at when the jury is specified for a salon, their credentials are also specified. So you will know whether the jury is credible or not. So it also makes sense to look at who is doing the jury work in that salon and then take a call. And make sure, that is why, at least when you start with, to avoid disappointments, you look at, I mean, to know that you've been given a fair hearing or fair look at your pictures, make sure you choose credible salons. There are many of them which are credible. There are some, I'm sorry to say this, but in the last few years, last maybe a couple of years, the salon organization has become a money-making, I can say, pastime. So the same organizer organizes so many salons under different names. So it's just to make a fast buck. So they don't, I mean, they give awards, they do all these things, but then I don't know how good is the quality. So you have to be very careful. And as I said, look for that physical exhibition that's going to happen. So those are the ones that are really credible.
It may also happen, like suppose for any genre or for any section, there will be around say 3 judges or so. Any particular one judge may be having a knowledge of that particular theme or a subject, other two may not. And since it's a joint decision, so again the person who participates, he has to take a hit. The receiving.
So these are all the downsides, cons of the salon participation.
Okay. Another thing, I have another question. See, when we go to like any location, say for travel photography or a nature, see, whatever the shooting opportunity is presented, may not yield a salon worthy image. Generally, if the person, very few opportunities will have a salon worthy, will produce a salon worthy image. And again, it depends on the photographer's skill. And again, it's a matter of luck also how it is judged.
That
in
is
that case, so don't you think that it becomes like a gamble then? It's a gamble.
See, again, that's why I said there should be a balance. Don't stop doing what you're doing. So if going places and enjoying doing photography, not only for the sake of salons, is what you like to do, do that also. And there are also, I'm sure you will have to end up making trips just for salon photography, just to shoot images which can work. But then at the same time, you will also get more knowledge about how things work anywhere else. I mean, in new culture, new place, etc., etc. So there is a good side to that also. But you may have to do this also. And it's for sure. See, for that matter, even when you go to a good place or which is very where you can make a lot of salon images, but then you're going with your family, you cannot shoot. Maybe you will not have the flexibility to shoot whatever you want at that time, the way you want. So anything can happen. But don't stop shooting just because something doesn't work for a salon. You can use those images elsewhere. So what doesn't work in salons may work equally well in some competitions, or it can be used as a portfolio. Now, if you're, in fact, you have to look at it from that angle also. That's what I have realized. Let's say you've gone to shoot Tayyam somewhere, and you're trying to make images which can work very well in salons. But then don't forget to shoot what is surrounding that. So the preparations that are happening and all these things. If you submit that to a salon, it's definitely not going to work. We know for sure it will not work. But then it can go very well with a portfolio. So your portfolio will improve. You're telling a story through a portfolio. And there can be many competitions which take a series of photographs as a portfolio, as a storytelling portfolio, not a salon. It can still work. So don't leave out all those things. It is very important that you continue to shoot whatever you think is important for you to shoot.
Okay. Thanks.
Anitha, ma'am, Kaushik here.
Yeah, Kaushik.
Ma'am, how will the long exposure images of a landscape like river flowing work in salons?
It depends on what section you're putting it in. So if it's simply long exposure, just because it is simply long exposure, it doesn't mean it will work. So you have to look at the context and what else is there and in which section it can work. So typically, I mean, maybe it is something that may lend itself to monochrome. So just by saying it's a long exposure of a river, I mean, we cannot say whether it works in salons or not. It depends on the context.
Okay, got it, ma'am.
I have one more question regarding the nature section.
Mm-hmm.
I do nature photography, but by and large, I shoot only mostly macro. I am not yet active in birding or wildlife. So based on like the portfolio, I mean the catalogs which I've seen, especially for the salons which are conducted by the Indian photography clubs. I've seen that almost roughly around 80 to 85% of the awarded or accepted pictures are from wildlife or birds. Macro hardly gets any recognition.
Whatever
that's why I'm not very encouraged to participate in the nature section.
No, whatever you said is true to a certain extent. Again, it depends upon the jury. So generally what I tend to see is that the moment they see any chase picture or kill picture, they go overboard and they give high marks to that and they give awards and all that. And that way, so if you generally see in the order in which images are awarded, so definitely animals take the first place, and then you have birds maybe, and then macro and landscape. Very few pictures, but don't be discouraged. Really good salons actually award macros also, and I know that many salons I have officiated in, we have given the top award to macro, because it's not easy shooting macro, and only a real nature judge will understand how.
That's what even I realized that when I went to the profile of the jury members, I saw very few of them are really active in that macro genre. That's what I, like my conclusion was.
Yeah. So what I suggest is you participate in the YPS International. I mean, this is not a propaganda or any such thing, but then we have very good nature jury. So please participate and try. I'm sure you'll like it.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? Yeah, Amarjit Rao.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Anitha ma'am. This is Akshata here. Good evening.
Akshata. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, hi. So I have a question. For nature section, suppose say you shoot an animal by the pond. Is that allowed? Because that water body will be considered man-made, right? So I don't know if we can use such images in nature section.
I think as long as it doesn't show the, that it is a pond or something, a man-made structure, because if it is just water, it cannot be, I mean, you cannot know that it is a pond or any such thing. So I think if it shows, I mean, like, if it shows that it is a cement structure or something like that, obviously it's a no-no.
Okay. Okay, understand. Okay, thank you. And I have one more question. So whenever we have these sessions like about the salons, I have, in fact, last year also we had one by Satish sir about salons, and now also you mentioned study the jurors. So what exactly do you people mean by that? Because suppose, for example, say you are the judge for a particular section, travel section, for example, and I'm not a member of YPS, and I'm taking part in this salon, and I upload my photos in travel section. I follow all the rules that is mentioned here. I choose my best photos. I upload them. Why do I need to know who is judging my photo?
No, it is like, see, what is happening is these days, many jurors may not be experienced enough to be on the jury panel. So, I mean, everyone should be given a chance. But then when you're looking at an international salon specifically, the jury should have some knowledge. So how do you understand that a jury has some knowledge? So maybe the level of distinctions may help to some extent. It's not the only criteria. Just by looking at that, but let's say some jury has an MFIAP. Then you know that if he has to get to that level, that means he must be a really experienced jury member.
Okay.
And you will know, I mean, if you can get to see the profile, you will know. But I mean, you don't generally all the time do just go and do a very close examination and things like that. But by and large, you will know.
Okay. So generally, so I was very confused by this, and generally what I used to do is I'll go and check their social media profiles and see what kind of genre they shoot, and after that I didn't know what to do with that information. Yeah.
Okay, generally, see, for for nature, this becomes more critical, I would say, because a nature judge should be somebody who knows very well about nature. For the open color sections, it should be okay. And photo travel also, it should be okay. It's not too much of a thing, but yeah, I would still say some acceptable level of distinctions and things like that will make a jury more credible.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful presentation. Thank you.
So I think BGM Nair sir had a a question. Where do infrared images go? Is there any specific section for it? As I know, no. So I haven't seen any salon so far with an infrared section, and they actually don't encourage infrared images. So Akshay, I don't know if Satish has joined in the name of Akshay. So there is a suggestion. So could you also emphasize the importance of ensuring color reproduction and processing images properly before submission? I feel a brief of both these two additional aspects would be helpful. So this is very true. So you have to make sure that whatever you see on the field, you're able to represent that properly, bring that back properly in your image. And don't do any over editing, and make sure that it is processed properly before you submit it. So I think at some point I mentioned that, but maybe not too much in detail. Yeah, Sandeep.
Hello, Anitha ma'am. Good evening.
Yeah, good
Thank
evening.
you very much for the presentation. It was really insightful.
Thank you.
Just one quick question on the usage of generative AI. It's definitely a no-go, but as you know, Photoshop has introduced many tool set which in the backend could call some AI feature or uses generative AI. So, for example, a remote tool which newly introduced in Photoshop, it really does the job what is expected. But in we do have an option where we can switch off the AI and switch on the AI. So
Yeah.
is this still allowed in open sections to use this kind of processing?
Okay, so PSA has come up with a table where when they list the different sections and what is allowed and what is not allowed, what of AI is allowed and not allowed is also included. So we have included this table in our YPS International Salon 2026 rules. So I would suggest that you go through it. It is very clear. I found it very useful because they mention each and every operation and they say whether it is applicable or not in every section. So I think that will be helpful. You can go through that and let me know if you still have any doubt. Then we can maybe discuss.
Sure, that would be great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Anitha. I'm visiting from USA to Bangalore.
Thank you, sir. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you. Nice to hear all your recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Any other question? I'm just trying to see if there are any other questions. So there is a question by Indira Subramaniam. I don't know if whether this is still online. So whether showing tracks in tiger sanctuaries will disqualify the picture. So typically they used to see in nature, what they have said is as long as something is a part of the nature image, in the sense it's a part of the part of the nature story, it is allowed. So if the tracks are not very they are not the prominent thing in the image, so it should still work. So there were times, of course, in a couple of years back where many pictures which had tracks were disallowed in nature, they were rejected in nature. But since then things have changed, so as long as they are not prominent, those tire marks are not prominent, it is still allowed, because that's the only way you can get around in many sanctuaries. So if there are no other questions, maybe we can close the call. Thank you all for joining. And if you have any doubts, please get in touch with me, and please do participate in our YPS International Salon. Thank you all and have a nice Rest of the day, it's almost night.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Good night.
Sir, Pradeep sir, tell me, you have a question? You can unmute yourself, sir. Okay, maybe he doesn't have a question. Okay, thank you all. I will end the call now for everybody. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Anitha ma'am, for a wonderful presentation.
Thank
Let
you,
me
Vikas.
let me end the call for everyone. I don't see any other questions which have come up.
Mhm.
And yeah, I know that there are a couple of people who messaged saying that they need the recording. Hope we'll render it soon.
Okay. Okay, thank you.